Hi everybody, my name's Christina Ernie and I am the Sunrise Meteorologist here at NBC 10 in Providence. What does that mean? I am the meteorologist in the morning bringing you the latest early morning forecast. So what time do we go on? 4:30 in the morning. I can't wait to tell you a lot about meteorology here, what I do, how I got here, and I think there'll be a few things that really surprise you and maybe even shock you too. Let's start with one of those shockers because as I mentioned, I work the morning shift. So what time do I get up in the morning? 2 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, really early. My alarm clock goes off and I'm here in the studio by 3 a.m. We have to prepare for that show that comes on at 4:30. There's a lot of people who commute early and we have to be on bringing traffic, weather, and news to everybody early on. So I get in super early. The studio that you see behind me is where we do all of our shows. We have cameras, we have lights, big monitors, and towards the end of this video, I'll give you a brief tour. But yeah, this is where we put on all of our shows from morning to noon and night. These lights are always going. Back to the early morning shift though, let me tell you a little bit about what kind of my day-to-day routine is. So I roll in here at 3 o'clock in the morning and I have about an hour and a half to put together a forecast. My main responsibilities would be to put together where the temperatures are going to be headed for the day and the few days ahead, the weather conditions that you can expect, and a big focus of a morning meteorologist like myself is really preparing you guys for specifically the day ahead, because a lot of you wake up getting ready for a commute, ready to head to school, and you want to know how to dress, what to prepare for. Maybe you have after-school activities, and you want to know exactly what you're in for the next day or so. Do you need a light jacket, a heavy jacket, a rain jacket? That's my job, is to prepare you for what you're waking up to early on. So I come in and I put together that forecast. I am poring over computer models all morning long. It involves a lot of science. It involves a lot of math. These are all things that I studied for a while in college and secondary colleges. But in the end, it produces this great product where I can share with people how to prepare. And that's really important to me, is making sure that people are safe and prepared for whatever might be ahead, whether it's a beautiful day or a day with severe weather. So I get in, I put together that forecast. I also build my own weather graphics too. All the graphics that you see when meteorologists are on TV behind us, like maps, different forecast graphics, we create those from a computer model ourselves. And maybe you're looking at me thinking, wow, it would be really cool to be a meteorologist and forecast the weather and this and that, but I'm not much of a TV person. Well, there's a lot of jobs behind the scenes that involve meteorology. We actually have some weather producers on our staff who help build the graphics, and they do a lot of our digital forecasting, writing blogs and writing stories using that love of science to write about climate topics and things like that. So there's a lot of different careers within meteorology. It's not just on TV, but I admit that I love the TV aspect of it because I get to really show people what is coming ahead, and I get to infuse a lot of my personality into that as well, telling some maybe not so funny jokes every once in a while. So as a meteorologist, I clearly love the weather, but when I first started out, when I was in college and even in high school, I loved the news before weather. I loved writing. I loved my English classes, and I really loved learning about how the news was put together. And so that's really what started out my career in the first place. I was super interested in watching the news even with my parents on a daily basis. And so at first I got in to college at Boston University to be a reporter. And that was actually my first job in Bangor, Maine. And I learned quickly that while I loved TV and I loved the news, I did not love my job as a reporter because I really missed learning about science on a daily basis. It was always something that I had loved and had a passion for in life, and I really needed to find a way to incorporate science, my love for climate topics and different kind of weather events in my career. So I kind of put two and two together, reporting and weather. I became a meteorologist. Something that might shock you is that when you first start out in TV, whether you're a reporter or a meteorologist, you start in these very small markets, and you have to do a good deal of traveling before you can kind of land in a city or a town that you want to stay for the rest of your life, or at least for a while. So my first job, of course, like I mentioned, was in Maine, Bangor, Maine, northern Maine. And my second job was in Albany, New York, where I got to experience a ton of crazy weather, especially a lot of severe storms. But eventually I wound up here in Rhode Island, just where I want to be, because there's so much great weather here. I mean, we have the influence of the ocean, which really changes up our temperatures a whole lot, gives us a whole lot of fog too, and we get a lot of really fun weather to forecast. We all know that Mother Nature is constantly kind of throwing different things at us. Our forecasts have improved over the year, and I'm talking worldwide. Meteorology has been improving, but every once in a while, you know how Mother Nature is, every once in a while things can really just surprise you, and we are just doing our best on a daily basis to get the most accurate forecast given the tools and given the science that we have. And in Rhode Island, it's definitely a challenge, but I think that's why I like it, because every single day my job is different. I'm forecasting rain one day, snow the next, 70 or 80 degree temperatures the next. So it's always very crazy. But in terms of my career, the path finally landed me here in Rhode Island, and a day in the life is a lot earlier than maybe you'd expect. My day's actually done by 9 or 10 a.m., but I personally love working early, and maybe you're somebody who loves meteorology, or you're interested in the science of it, and maybe you're more of a late night person. We have some later evening shows, of course, too, from 3 p.m. to midnight, so it's really all kind of what you want. You can take the job that works best for your lifestyle. Now, in order to become a meteorologist, like I mentioned, I went to Boston University and I started out as a reporter, so I got that experience writing stories, shooting video, editing stories, and then having them go on TV, and that was really useful for my meteorology career because I'm able to write stories as it pertains to weather and help our producers write them as well, so when anchors read it on air, all the information is correct. But I also got a secondary certification for meteorology, and that was a lot of science and a lot of math. And I admit it can be really tricky to get your meteorology degree or certification because there is a lot of science involved. We use it on a daily basis as well to get the most accurate information. However, it is so rewarding to learn these kinds of things, and to learn about the atmosphere in such intricate detail is so interesting and also really important because we need that information moving forward, especially as things are changing with the climate. It's important to know these small intricacies and how our daily lives can be changed with just the rise of a single degree or two across the globe. That's another part of my job that I really love, is while of course I'm forecasting and I'm trying to keep people safe as well when we have these severe storms, I do have some flexibility to tell stories of climate, and that's something that I absolutely adore. Meteorology is not just forecasting numbers or telling weather conditions, it's also telling people about why conditions are changing over time. Why are we getting more severe weather? Why are our temperatures getting warm globally, and how that actually impacts us moving forward? For instance, just the other day on air, I was mentioning how our pollen count is really going up earlier than normal in the season, and that's actually because CO2 in the atmosphere from greenhouse gases and emissions, we'll see actually longer pollen seasons, which gives us worse and worse allergies. So talking about climate change and the way that our day-to-day lives actually can impact weather moving forward is really important to spread that message. Nobody else is going to do it. Us environmental scientists are the ones to do it. Now, going back to the math and the science part, it can be really tricky, of course. It's also pretty intimidating to be the only female in the room. We think of the STEM careers, science, technology, engineering, and math, and I am just one of 29% of females who are meteorologists around the country. It's a small percentage, and it can be really intimidating to be the only female in the room, but it is so rewarding. We have so much to offer. We put our own spin on things, and of course we can do just as much great science as the guys can, right? So it's nice to be breaking into that field, and of course it can feel intimidating at times, but it is so worth it to really pave that path moving forward. Finally, I kind of want to give you guys a little bit of a tour of this studio. A few things that might shock you. Not all of us wear heels. We look like we're in formal attire, and we certainly are, but today I've got my sneakers on, and this is a tour of the studio. You see a whole bunch of cameras here. This is the green wall. Maybe you know about this and maybe you don't, but for weather, I'm just standing in front of a green wall the whole time. I use these side monitors to show me exactly what I am pointing to. So this all gets superimposed on the camera, and the output is exactly what you see on TV. So just a little fun fact for you there, that I'm really pointing to a whole lot of nothing when I'm doing my forecasting, and that comes with practice. Really, this entire job comes with practice, and something I love about my career is that it's different every day. You can be doing this job for a year, you can be doing it for 30 years, and there is still something you will learn. So I hope you guys got a little bit of a sense of what I do. I hope you enjoyed seeing our studio, and I hope you guys have a fantastic day.